There is a demo for Mario Tennis Fever right now, but you can only play it in certain stores with a Switch 2 kiosk. Now, I went to Target. It's normally where I go when these demos go live, and pretty much every major game that's come out to Switch 2 so far has had a demo available about a week before it's come out. So that's pretty cool, giving, people more opportunities to try these games out before you actually buy them. But I tried out Mario Tennis Fever, and I'm going to give a big shout out to Nin10 wife for recording for me once again. I know her little arms were probably very tired, so thankfully she put up with holding the phone up for me to get some footage. But yes, I played about 3 separate games of Mario Tennis Fever, and I chose a different character and a different racket each time. And I have kind of my first impressions. So real quick before diving into this, let me kind of tell you where I stand on this game from what I've seen so far. I was pretty upset that we didn't get something else like a Mario basketball or baseball. I really wanted a Mario baseball, a new Sluggers or something. But seeing Mario Tennis again was just pretty upsetting to me. So immediately I was kind of turned off by this idea, but I was willing to give it a chance because the first trailer actually looked pretty interesting. And even the overview trailer pretty much kind of wrapped me up in this game because it looked like it wasn't as much about mechanics as it was about having just pure Mario Party fun, which is what the sports games has always been for Mario. And I can tell you that is the #1 thing that I've experienced so far. This is a pure Mario tennis game. The preference on Mario, and I think some people might have an issue with this. I know IGN did on their preview, saying that they wish it was a lot more technical the way Aces was moving. But I'm actually going to go out and say I am so glad this game took this approach. I feel like Mario sports games should be fun to play first and foremost. And it's one of my biggest problems with Aces. I don't mind a game having a high skill ceiling and stuff, but with Aces, it's hard for anyone that's just a casual gamer to just pick up the controller and have fun with it. I remember having people come over and no one really could, keep up with anyone that's remotely good at the game because there's so much tech diving across the field and knowing how to hit the ball a certain way. It had actual real tennis physics. It felt like a tennis game with Mario characters slapped into it, if that makes any sense. And I know a lot of people like Mario Tennis Aces. It might be everybody's favorite Mario sports game on Nintendo Switch 1, but I don't know. It didn't resonate with me. I personally was the Mario Golf Super Rush guy. That was my sport game. I wasn't a big fan, and I actually put the game down after literally like a week or two after playing through the story mode. Well, when playing this game, it was an immediately different experience. This is not Mario Tennis Aces. This is a completely 180 with what they were leading up to from the 3DS game to the Wii U title and even the Switch title. This feels like it takes us all the way back to the GameCube days. Yes, I'm talking about Mario Power Tennis. It has always been my favorite Mario Tennis game. It's honestly the console with some of my favorite Mario sports games in general. But man, this feels like a GameCube reimagining of what Power Tennis was, and I love it. Now, you still have various different types of shots depending on which button that you hit. I don't know all the names. I never, personally played tennis, like you have your flop and drop shots and stuff. But you can also, once again, control the ball in the way that it moves. You can give it a little left to right or right to left spin, or maybe hit a little bit higher to low, or a short placement just over the net. So you still have your same shot types, but what really changes it is the ball physics and the way it moves. Now, I know some people might not like this, but let me tell you, you can actually change how fast and the way the ball moves as well. We know that the finished game will have different tennis balls that you can choose, which I think is also an awesome addition. There's different status effects and stuff. For instance, the ball speed is pretty high on the standard ball, and it doesn't have too much of great bounce though. So I'm very interested with seeing the different types of balls and how they're actually going to work in the finished game. But what really makes this game isn't the ball. It isn't really the court. Well, it might be the courts. There's some really cool themed courts that, we didn't get with the demo. The demo just gives you this basic one. But no, it's the rackets. The Fever rackets give you a special ability when you hit the ball. And you can use these abilities quite often, believe it or not, which really adds so much chaos, especially if you're playing doubles. There's 4 people with Fever rackets just hitting different types of shots all over back and forth, one with electric, one with ice, one with fire, one with the ability to spawn an enemy on the court. I mean, it's some wacky stuff, and it really just adds that Mario vibe to it. And like I said, this is without being on those special courts like the Waluigi pinball court and the Mario Wonder court that we've seen already. These are literally just regular courts with wacky rackets causing some crazy things to happen. And what's so cool is there's actually like health and stuff for your character, which means if you're getting beat up by the opponent's racket and the powers of that racket, you will get placed out of bounds and you have to sit and wait and like time out until your health recovers. But some of these rackets, dude, I can already tell some are going to be so much overpowered than the others. Like there's a Taifu racket that just literally flings the ball in just completely different directions and gives you like super spin. It doesn't only just do that though. Some rackets have multiple purposes. Like it gives Rosalina here great ball control and spin, but also it can create little tornadoes on the other side of the net, which is pretty cool. But I mean, look at some of these shots that Rosalina is able to hit with this thing. It's absolutely absurd. But yeah, like I said, some of the rackets have multiple purposes. Like some will just spawn an enemy one time and that's about it. Where some will let you use it multiple times to do different things. Like the bullet bill racket lets you just consistently keep shooting bullet bill balls. I thought something was wrong. I'm like, dude, does it let me just keep doing this? And it lets you do it for a while where you're just firing rockets back to the other side of the net. Or like Rosalina's, where you have this constant, really crazy control over the direction and turn of the ball. But there's some where it only shoots one thing out. Like the Pokey will only spawn one Pokey, but if you hit the Pokey again with the tennis ball, it will break the Pokey apart, leaving his segments all over the enemy side. And there's one where like it clones you, where you can have technically 3 people on one side of the net, and your clone stays out for a while. So yeah, there's some crazy stuff going on here, man. And when you have 4 people playing at once with all different types of rackets, it can literally be the most chaotic match ever. And I love it, dude. Like, this feels like a Mario sports game now, where I genuinely think anyone could pick up a controller and compete in this, which I absolutely love that. Now, there's still so much that I have to, learn and things with the meters and how they all work and the longevity of some of your racket abilities. But one thing I really love is the fact that if somebody uses their ability for their ball and the racket, you get to actually reflect it and shoot it back. And as soon as it hits the ground the next time, that's when that effect will land. So let's say the opponent uses an electric racket and uses it on the ball, turning the ball into electricity. You can keep hitting it back before it uses its effect on the ground. So if you keep the ball off the ground, you can keep sending it back and forth, but as soon as the ball hits the ground, that effect will affect either side, depending on which one is on. And some of the effects are really well done. Like, I really love the, what I call Mario Sunshine racket, where it gives you this kind of ink graffiti thing from Mario Sunshine. And if it hits the ground, it leaves mud all over the enemy side, and it will stay there for a while. Like I said, having that longevity thing, even going into the next round, it could stay there. And it's so funny because it slows down the enemy. It will even slow down the ball. You'll see the ball start to slowly stop moving as it goes into the mud. And you can really like position this in certain ways, put it in certain areas, so that way you can force the ball to be on a different side of the court, or you can force the ball to continue go into the mud to throw your opponents off. I mean, there's just so much with this. I love that. Now, the demo doesn't obviously allow you to play with everybody, but there's 38 characters, which I believe is the most the series has ever had. Some characters even have alts. For instance, Luma actually has the blue Luma from the movie, which is pretty cool, and Yoshi with all of the different colored Yoshi alts. I'm hoping lots of the other characters have alts as well, like it's not just a couple. But yeah, that's a lot of characters, and I'm wondering if there's going to be a couple of extra, maybe secret characters, or at least one secret character tied to like the story mode or something. That would be nice. And then there's also 30 different rackets, which is a pretty good amount. So lots of different options for you to choose here. I also think it's hilarious that one of the rackets is literally just a bunch of bananas at the end of a stick. But to be honest with you, dude, this is actually really exciting for me. I am so glad to see Nintendo taking this Mario approach first, and knowing that we're going to be getting some really cool themed tracks that actually feels like it's coming from a Mario game. I think that's the problem with modern Mario sports games. You get golf courses and tennis courts and even soccer fields that are just basic without really any theming to them. Now, what's great is when they showed off a lot of these courts during the trailers, it looks like you might even be able to turn off like stage hazards for some of them. It's hard to tell right now, or maybe certain things will pop up as you play. But even just looking at these images with none of the things popping up on the court so far, I mean, these courts look so bright and vibrant and colorful and just feel like they're Mario courts. But just like look at some of these courts. There's ones with like piranha plants that pop up and like grass grows in the mud spots and probably has different effects to the way the ball bounces. For Waluigi Pinball, there's bumpers on the court and even behind you if the ball gets by. And there's even like a factory one where like there's panels on the ground. If you hit certain panels, it'll give you a random racket. Like that stuff is awesome, dude. Not to mention the Wonder Effect one where it literally gives you a Wonder Effect on the court that actually adds to the chaos. It's just like, plus with all the tennis racket combos, this is going to be one crazy tennis game. And we're not even talking about the story mode, because obviously that's not in the demo or anything like that. And we've seen boss battles already, tons of wacky challenges as babies. Like, this is going to be a pretty freaking cool game, I'm telling you. So before playing the demo, I was probably around a 7 out of 10. And that's pretty high for another Mario Tennis game, you know what I mean? But after playing the demo, I'd say I'm around an 8.5. I'm pretty excited to play this with friends, and I'm very excited to try out the story mode and all the challenges and all the extra modes as well. It looks like there's a lot of content in this tennis game. I'm just hoping there's a lot of collectibles too and unlockables and reasons to keep playing this game after it's released, and maybe even online events and tournaments and stuff, which I do believe tournaments have been announced. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to look forward to here. I've just not been too impressed with the last handful of tennis games since, like I said, the GameCube with Mario Power Tennis. So I think if this game lands the mark, man, this could be my favorite tennis game in the entire franchise so far. But let me know if you guys got to try out the demo, and if so, did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? And just kind of let me know your thoughts, and if you haven't even tried it out, are you excited to try this game out? Are you going to be picking it up day one? Definitely let me know, and thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you all have a blessed day. See you guys.